Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I hope your day and your week are going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new NBA player prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. And if the thumbnail didn't already give it away, we are on to day 3 of our ladder challenge, which means we did cash again last night. Another solid plus money parlay hit. We're riding high right now, guys. Let's see if we can't go up a couple more steps on this ladder. I'm actually also changing the goal. My original goal was just to do, can we get to 6 days? I'm now going to go ahead and try to get to 7 days. So if we get to day 7, I'll do a special video on Sunday. But that's the goal for this ladder challenge. Can we get a parlay hit on 7 consecutive days? And one more announcement too, real quick. I am going to do, because I'm having a lot of fun doing this ladder challenge, I'm going to do a second one later in the month for Christmas, starting on December 18th with the same goal. Can we get a parlay hit every single day for 7 days leading up to, obviously, Christmas Day? So we'll be doing 2 ladder challenges this month. We're still in the middle of this one. We're on to day 3. I've got another 2-leg parlay to share for you guys for day 3 of this month's ladder challenge. But on top of the 2-leg parlay that is a part of our December ladder challenge, I also have some single bets to go and share with you guys as well. I'll make sure to do that after we do our 2-leg parlay. So a quick little recap of last night, guys. 2-leg parlay. We had no single bets last night. Like I told you, it was kind of a smaller slate. Didn't like a lot of the picks. We just stuck with our December ladder challenge parlay. 2-leg parlay plus 123 odds. We hit it. Nikola Vucevic over 9.5 rebounds was never really too much of a sweat. Jalen Johnson over 17.5 points, though. I was sweating. He had 9 points midway through the third quarter, and I was like, this is not going to hit. He had a really solid finish to the game. Got us there. So another solid performance. I am also grading these parlays in our overall parlay record. I'm not doing the whole ladder challenge where we put, the units. I'm just doing one unit essentially for the parlay results. We're now 3-8 on parlays this year, up 1.01 units on the season. And again, looking at our December ladder challenge results, now the money's going to be different depending on how you guys do it. I talked about it a little bit in yesterday's video. For me personally, when I do ladder challenges, after the first day, I take the first unit that I put in, I take that initial investment back, put it in my pocket. That way, whatever happens, I'm just playing with house money. I think it's a smart way. It's the financially savvy way to go about doing ladder challenge. But again, no judgment if you guys want to put everything on it. So the numbers and everything might look a little bit different depending on how you did it. But we were up 1.26 units after the first day. We then put that onto the next parlay, which is plus 123. We won 1.55 units yesterday, and we're now up to 2.81 units in total profit so far on this ladder challenge. I know some of you guys might want to go ahead and cash out and take your winnings. You know what? If you want to go ahead and do that, you're 100% your decision. But I will say this, guys. Scared money don't make no money. Let's keep riding. If you guys are riding, comment down below ladder. If you are riding with today's parlay, if you're still following with this ladder challenge, we're on to day 3. We're going to put 2.81 units on today's parlay. This is where the real big profit starts to come in, guys. Again, just to let you guys know what a unit is, that's basically, it's literally just a unit of measurement. It's to go ahead and let you guys know what I'm putting on the bet so you guys can go ahead and put what your unit is. Everybody's units is different. So like my units, for example, and I'll be honest, my units are $100. I don't go too crazy. I do one unit for me is $100. For some people, it might be $1. Some people could be $1,000. My units are typically $100. So that's what I typically like to put on for my unit. So that's to let you know that I'm putting 100 on the game, but it's just so you guys can follow along without necessarily putting the same amount of money. So for example, I'm up over $281. I'm actually not over. I'm up $281 so far on this ladder challenge. I'm throwing $281 on today's parlay. Enough blabbering, guys. Got a lot of picks to get to. Let's just dive into today's picks. All right, guys, kicking off. Like I said, we're going to start with the ladder challenge, our 2-leg parlay, and then after the parlay, I'll make sure to comment again when we move on to the single bets. We'll do the single bets. It's a 2-leg parlay plus 126 odds. And if you have been following the ladder challenge, we're basically doing the same parlay we did on Sunday's video. A little bit different, the lines and whatnot, but we're using the same 2 players, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Nikola Jokic, which we used on Sunday's parlay as well. So the first leg, we're going in the Grizzlies-Mavericks game, 8:30 p.m. tip-off. We're going Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Grizzlies over 24.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Both of these legs are alternate lines. I will go ahead and say that. And we are using DraftKings for this parlay. We have done the first couple of days of the video series, of the ladder challenge, I should say. It's minus 215 on DraftKings. It is only available on DraftKings, and the data looks absolutely fantastic. Jaren Jackson Jr. has cashed his over in 9 of his last 10 games at 90% hit rate, averaging 30.6 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. Even if you go ahead and stretch that data out to the entire season view, it looks really solid. 15 out of 19 games he's cashed the over. It's a 79% hit rate this year, averaging 29.47 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So really good numbers. You see here over the last 15 games games or so, he's really gotten going. And the head-to-head data is not too bad also. 2 of his last 3 meetings with the Dallas Mavericks, all of those meetings taking place last season, he did cash the over. The last time they played, a really big performance, 41 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists back on December 11th of last year. Couple more things to note. Zach Edey is out tonight for Memphis, so that's a key thing here for Jaren Jackson Jr. because we go ahead and put a filter here and show his data this year without Zach Edey when he's out of the lineup, and it looks pretty solid for Jaren Jackson Jr. He's played 7 games so far this year without Zach Edey, and he's cashed the over in 6 out of 7 games, an 86% hit rate when Edey does not play, averaging 28.86 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. And also, when Edey is out, Jaren Jackson Jr. tends to play more minutes at the center position versus when Edey plays, Jackson Jr. kind of pushes over and plays more power forward. He's going to play pure center, and this is great for this matchup because the Mavericks are one of the worst teams in the NBA in a lot of these categories versus centers. Bottom 5 in both points and assists allowed to opposing centers, and 15th in rebounds allowed. They're giving up 21 points per game, 12.2 rebounds, and 4 assists per game to opposing centers. So really good numbers here for Jaren Jackson Jr. I love the spot here. Again, it is an alternate line, but over 24.5 points plus rebounds plus assists feels really good. He's been really getting it going, and with Edey out, he's going to get more opportunities at the center spot, which is a really good matchup here against the Mavericks. And then our second leg of our 2-leg parlay, we have Nikola Jokic over 39.5 points plus rebounds. This is also an alternate line available on DraftKings for -185 odds. And like the last prop, the data is absolutely fantastic. You see 12 out of 15 games this year, Jokic has cashed this over, an 80% hit rate, averaging 42.8 points plus rebounds per game. So really solid numbers. Look at the right side of the screen here. The matchup data is okay. The Warriors have been the best defense this year against centers. They're only giving up 14.4 points per game to opposing centers this year, but Jokic, I think, is a clear, obvious exception, and his head-to-head data versus Golden State looks pretty solid. The one area they are particularly weak in is rebounds. They are 19th in rebounds allowed to opposing centers, giving up 12.6 rebounds per game. And look at the head-to-head data. Jokic actually cashed this over in 4 consecutive meetings with the Golden State Warriors, averaging 44.75 points plus rebounds per game. So he's had a pretty good luck and pretty good hits here against the Warriors. Those, of course, all taking place last season. But the data across the board looks pretty solid. Even though narrowed into the last 10 games, 9 of his last 10 games, a 90% hit rate, averaging 43.2 points plus rebounds per game over his last 10 games. There's also a rest factor here with Jokic. Now, he's only had 1 day of rest, but the data when he's only had 1 day of rest is pretty solid. All he needs is 1 day to recharge the batteries, and he's pretty good. You see an 80% hit rate over his last 10 games when coming off of just 1 day of rest. So far this year, an 88% hit rate, 7 out of 8 games this year when he's coming off of just 1 day of rest. He's cashed the over, averaging 43.75 points plus rebounds per game. So pretty good data across the board. Again, there's our 2-leg parlay. Jaren Jackson Jr. over 24.5 points plus rebounds plus assists, -215 on DraftKings, and Nikola Jokic over 39.5 points plus rebounds, -185 on DraftKings. You put those two together, you get a parlay of +126 odds. So that's the parlay for day 3 of our ladder challenge. We're putting 2.81 units on this parlay of +126. Let's keep this ride going, guys. Hopefully we'll be back here tomorrow with our day 4 of our ladder challenge. Again, guys, make sure to comment ladder down below in the comments if you're A, watching this video, and B, also tailing today's parlay. All right. So that's out of the way now. We're now moving on to our single bet portion of today's video. We have 4 single bets, and we'll start off with this one because it's basically just another Jokic prop, just a little bit different than the one I gave on the parlay. Our first single bet, we're going Nikola Jokic here of the Denver Nuggets over 51.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Similar but different. The data is going to look a little bit different here, but it's still pretty solid even at this line. Look at the last 10 games for Jokic at this line. You see 8 of his last 10 games, an 80% hit rate, averaging 54.2 points plus rebounds plus assists per game over the last 10 games. Even look at 2024 so far, the data is pretty solid. 73% hit rate, 11 out of 15 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 53.47 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So really good numbers across the board here for Jokic, even at this line, which is very high, but for Jokic, it's pretty normal. The head-to-head data also pretty solid. 3 of his last 4 meetings with the Golden State Warriors, he's cashed the over, it's a 75% hit rate, averaging 54.5 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. So the data, although not as good as the alternate line we had in the parlay, still really solid. The only miss he had was back on Christmas of last year, and he just barely missed it. 26 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists in that one. And again, look at the right side of the screen here. The data, again, like we talked about, the Warriors have the best defense so far this year against centers, but they are 19th in rebounds, and they're also 16th in assists. So it's not a bad matchup. The head-to-head data leads me to believe that he can cash. He's already done it pretty consistently over their last few meetings. The last time they played on February 25th, he had a really big game, 32 points, 16 rebounds, and 16 assists, a massive triple-double in that last one. Pretty good value, too. -115 on FanDuel. It's available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. We're going to throw 1 unit on this play. Next up, guys, we have Bucks Pistons. I actually have 2 props coming from this game. both on the Detroit side of things. We have a 7 p.m. tip-off here. Our first prop from this game and our second single bet overall. We're going Cade Cunningham here of the Pistons over 14.5 rebounds plus assists. It's minus 125 odds right now on DraftKings. We're going to put 1.15 units on this play. And the data is absolutely fantastic. He's now cashed this line in 10 consecutive games at 100% hit rate over his last 10 games, averaging a whopping 18.1 rebounds plus assists per game over his last 10 games. Some pretty impressive data there for Cade Cunningham. Even if you look at the season data overall, it's not bad. Now, obviously, you see he's on a really good streak of late, but overall, a 67% hit rate, 12 out of 18 games. He's actually cashed it in 11 consecutive games, but 12 out of 18 he's cashed the over, still averaging 16.17 rebounds plus assists per game this year. So pretty good data overall, and the head-to-head data looks to be pretty solid. 2 of his last 3 meetings with the Milwaukee Bucks, he has cashed his over. It's a 67% hit rate, averaging 13.67 rebounds plus assists per game over their last 3 meetings. They have played one time already this year, back on November 13th, and he had 7 rebounds and 11 assists, which was a clear-cut cash. Look at the matchup overall. The Bucks this year are 24th in rebounds allowed, 10th in assists allowed, versus point guards, though. They're 25th in rebounds and 14th in assists. So bottom 5 in the NBA in rebounds allowed to opposing point guards, and they're about middle of the road in terms of assists allowed. It's a pretty good matchup. He already did it once this year versus Milwaukee. Across the board, 11 consecutive cashes for Cade Cunningham. Some people could say it's a place to fade him. I think you keep riding the hot hand until it fails you. So we're going to take this one 1.15 units on this play. All right, guys, our second prop from this game and our third single bet overall in today's video. We're sticking with the Pistons here. Jaden Ivey over 19.5 points plus assists. Now, this one's a little bit more juiced. It's minus 140 on DraftKings here. We're going to put 1.25 units. We're taking a little bit of a risk here, which I know has hurt us a couple times this year in terms of the unit plays, but we're going to put 1.25 units on this play. Just like the Cade Cunningham one, the data is pretty solid. Now, not as solid as the Cade Cunningham prop, but really solid here. 6 of his last 10 games, he's cashed the over, a 60% hit rate, averaging 23.5 points plus assists per game over his last 10 games. So far this year in 2024, a 67% hit rate, 14 out of 21 games. He's cashed the over, averaging 22.76 points plus assists per game. So pretty good data across the board here for Jaden Ivey, and the head-to-head data looks solid as well. Each of his last 2 meetings with the Milwaukee Bucks, he's cashed the over. He's cashed in 2 of 3, averaging 20.67 points plus assists. A couple of solid performances. He has not played them yet this year, but the head-to-head data is decent. Overall, the Bucks are 15th in points allowed, 10th in assists allowed. They've actually been on a pretty good run, Milwaukee has. Versus shooting guards, though, 22nd in points, giving up 30 points per game to opposing shooting guards, and 13th in assists allowed, giving up 5.8 assists per game to opposing shooting guards. I like the spot overall for Ivey. I think it's a pretty good matchup here in Milwaukee, although they've definitely been better in the backcourt against point guards and shooting guards. They tend to struggle defensively here. I like Cunningham, and I like Ivey in both of these spots. All right, guys, in our fourth and final single bet in today's video, we're moving on to the Spurs-Suns game, 9 p.m. tip-off. We're going Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs over 39.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. We're getting this for minus 115 on DraftKings, and we're going to put 1.15 units on this play. Wembanyama's cashed the over in 7 of his last 10 games, a 70% hit rate, averaging 41.7 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. The last time we saw him out just 2 days ago, he had a whopping performance against Sacramento, including 34 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists. I believe that was his first triple-double of the season as well. Yeah, actually looking at the data, yeah, can't confirm it was his first triple-double. So pretty impressive performance. You can see he's starting to heat up. Overall this year, just a 53% hit rate, 9 out of 17 games so far this year. He's cashed the over, averaging 37.82 points plus rebounds plus assists per game. He got off to a pretty slow start in his first 10 games. You can see right there a lot of red. But again, over the last 10 games or so, he's really turned it on. And especially over the last 8 games, he's cashed it in 7 of his last 8 games, which I believe the insights and outlier provide. Yeah. So right here, you'll see 7 of his last 8 games, he's cashed the over, an 88% hit rate, averaging 46.75 points plus rebounds plus assists over his last 8 games. So some pretty impressive data here for Wembanyama. Even look at the head-to-head data, although it's not great. He has had a big game before versus Phoenix back on November 2nd of last year. He had 38 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists in that game. The head-to-head data isn't fantastic, but overall, he can have a big performance. I do think this matchup in today's game is a pretty solid one. Versus centers this year, Phoenix have struggled across the board. They're 27th in points allowed, 24th in rebounds allowed, and 20th in assists allowed two opposing centers. So a really solid matchup there for Wembanyama. And to make matters better for us, not so much for Phoenix, Jusuf Nurkic is out tonight for Phoenix. This is not a very deep team, so missing their starting center, and they haven't really been good with him anyways, but missing without him is only going to make this thing worse. I think it's a pretty good spot here to go ahead and tail Wembanyama. I like the over here. 1.15 units is the play. So guys, those are all my picks in tonight's NBA slate. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, guys, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. I'll be back tomorrow with another NBA player prop video. Hopefully, we're on to day 4 of the ladder challenge. I've been reserving the money gun. Try not to bring it out too early. If we do hit tonight, though, I can promise you guys the money gun will be making an appearance in tomorrow's video. I'm hoping we can keep the ladder challenge going, but regardless of if it does or not, we will obviously be back tomorrow with some more NBA player props. But until then, guys, I hope you're all winners. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get that W.